First off, I guess a big game against New Mexico. I don't know a lot of the girls on this team might know how big this is, but historically, how big of a game has this been?
Yeah, but I mean, there's been a rich history between New Mexico and Texas Tech. Obviously back in the '90s, but even early 2000s, things like that. I mean, it used to be a really rich rivalry, and I think it's big just for recruiting purposes, just for the region, and then obviously just to continue our winning streak and protecting home court. I think it's super important to be able to approach a game like this really maturely and still being really determined at getting better every game. New Mexico is always got a tough team. Coach Bradbury does a really good job of implementing his system, and they run it really well, and they're very high offensive oriented. And so it'll be a great test for us, but one that we've got to really come out and have a great start and, control it from the tip.
What have you liked from Sarah in these first two games, and what do you want her to work on?
Yeah, I love that Sarah plays so hard, number one, that she really uses her athleticism, but she's been so coachable. Like, she just wants to do whatever you ask her to do. And she's really a smart basketball player. You just have to tell her one time and she understands it. But I love that, she's pretty feisty out there. I saw her get into it a little bit with an opponent. I kind of liked that a little bit. I liked that she, like I said, works her tail off and is really tough. And she wants to do great for her team. Just a really great all-around individual, really great team player. And I think she's just going to continue to get better and better.
Coach, looks like throughout the first two games right now, you're at a plus 17 differential when it comes to assists. And so what have you really seen from this team? Really able to share the ball around? That also obviously means that you got some scores as well.
Yeah, we definitely need to be a team that can share the basketball and that can help each other score. I think we have a lot of offensive weapons, and so it's one of those things where we need to continue to pass up good shots for great shots and not be afraid to get that assist instead of the points. I think our team can really help one another with just passing angles, with paint touches, obviously just convincing the defense to take them so that then we can make an easier shot for someone else. But I do think we've got a lot of offensive weapons, a lot of really good shooters, and I love the fact that it's going to be one of those things where it could be somebody different every night that's leading us in scoring.
You got some players this year that have a little bit longer of a wingspan right now and be able to help out in the rebounding battle. You won the rebounding battle, game one, barely lost in game two. Where are you seeing maybe the progression in that aspect?
Yeah, we've got to continue to box people out. We didn't do a good job of that against Houston Christian, and that has to be a priority no matter if we're longer and taller than the other team. That has to be something that we buy into. And besides the fact that we really want to push and transition, and we can't do that if we don't rebound the basketball. So yeah, we want to use our length to rebound. We want to use our length to be disruptive on defense, to be able to get deflections, block some shots, alter some shots. And I really like our length and athleticism, and hopefully we'll continue to use it to our advantage.
Speaking of that length, is there an update on Maya health-wise?
Yeah, she is every day getting better and better. She has been back in practice at limited reps. We're hopeful that she can maybe get some minutes against New Mexico and then be ready for the weekend game.
Could you talk about Vianney Cumber and what she does for New Mexico? She started 29 games for them last year, one of their very few returners that contributed from a year ago.
She can really shoot the basketball, and she shoots it deep. And not only that, but she's got a really quick release. I think she hit 7 in a game the other night. So we definitely have focused on her in our practices. We've got to make sure that we match up with her in transition, especially when she's trailing, because they're really good at attacking the basket and pitching it back to her. And so we're going to have to do a good job of getting a hand in her face quickly in transition.
And then Destiny Hooks, what can you tell us about her?
Tell me which number she is. Okay. Yeah, she obviously she can really attack the basket. We think that they try to ISO her quite a bit to try to get her to go one-on-one with some people, and we've got to do a good job of keeping her out of the lane and really walling up when she does get by us, so that we're not having to over-rotate where they can find their post player on the backside. So got to match her intensity, got to keep her out of the middle of the floor, can't be afraid to go one-on-one with her and win 2 dribbles.
Against Northern Arizona, it was either in the paint or threes. So they like to go inside a lot, don't they?
Yeah, they're a dribble drive offense, and that's layups and threes. And so, if you over rotate and help, they're going to drop it off or they're going to kick it back out for a three ball. So not very many mid-range shots at all. We've got to keep them out of the paint and make it really difficult for them. We can't over rotate and commit two people to the basketball so that they can find open shooters. We've got to do a really good job of individual one-on-one defense.
And then what do you want to see from your team building on the first two games?
I really want to see us execute our offensive sets better, just in transition, knowing where each other's at, and then helping one another score the basketball. I want us to play at a good pace, and I don't feel like we're at that pace yet. Thought in our second scrimmage, we were really good at our pace, and I don't feel like we've seen that the last two games. So hopefully just some consistency in our intensity level and our pace, in getting stops, and then obviously executing our offense.
Coach, I think these two teams play to their strengths really well, and in a way I think they share a lot of similarities when it comes to perimeter shooting and rebounding. What has been your overall mindset as the head coach just going into these two tough games?
Well, obviously we just got to keep getting better and better. We can't necessarily worry about the opponent as much as it is ourselves. It's still early in the season. We've got to continue to build on what we're doing. I talked to them a lot this past week about competing with the details. Instead of the opponent necessarily, it's about the details, and it's like just not taking any shortcuts. We got to be mentally tough. We've got to be disciplined. We've got to work through plays. We've got to, like I said, turn down good for great shots. We've got to really complete defensive possessions with rebounds, just really paying attention to the details and competing with that instead of necessarily worrying about what the opponent's doing. I think if we do that, we're going to be obviously come out on top. But just like I said earlier, the rebounding the basketball is huge for us, so we've got to continue to block out and then taking care of the basketball on offense to get good possessions.
In the past, you've mentioned wanting to be known as a defensive team, and you specifically as a defensive coach. This team has done a great job with creating turnovers and staying aggressive in transition. Are you making any adjustments for these games, and should we expect the same style of play?
Yeah, we're going to continue to press in the full court. We're going to continue to try to turn people over. I think we're 18th in the country right now in turnovers, creating turnovers, that is. And so I think we want to continue to climb that ladder. But then also I really want us to continue to hold our opponents to low point totals. I think that, our generic goal is about 50 to hold them under 50, and I think we've done that the last couple of games. But it's going to continue to get harder and harder, and got to keep people off the free throw line to do that. We've got to limit their second chance opportunities, and we've just got to make sure that we protect the paint and stay with our defensive game plan.
You've also mentioned in the past that you've gone off to a slow start and that you guys need better starts to start off the game. Specifically in terms of tempo and setting the tone, what are you looking for when you guys play New Mexico?
Yeah, we try really hard to win our first three possessions, and it pretty much really ticks me off when we don't, because I think it just sets a different tone. We really want to win the first three possessions of every quarter, and I think if you can do that, you can get going in a positive manner, and it kind of just dictates the rest of the quarter for you at times. And so we want to start by winning the tip. We want to start by executing on offense, maybe getting a stop, the second possession, or a turnover, and then obviously having back-to-back positive offensive possessions. So it's really important for us to get out to a good start, and we're going to have to rely on our experience, on our upperclassmen, and just our focus and how we start games.
To circle back on relying on your own players, you're facing two heavy rebound teams. New Mexico has recorded 48 rebounds in each of their two games, while Washington State has had two games with 52 rebounds. Specifically on Sarah and Jordan, how have they both showcased their ability to play in the paint, and do you see them as a big part going into these games?
Yeah, they got to rebound the basketball for us. I didn't think that our post players rebounded it very well against Houston Christian. Part of that, though, is the turnovers, right? When you turn somebody over 28 times, that's 28 opportunities that you didn't get to rebound the basketball. So we always have to take that into play, but at the same time, we still want to continue to out-rebound our opponents. We just can't let them have second-chance opportunities. Obviously, Sarah and Jordan are a big piece of that. Kyla's a big piece of that. Maya's going to continue to be a big piece for that. But rebounding has to come from the whole team. If if our guards don't block out and rebound, the ball always finds the person that didn't get it done. So it has to be a mindset as a team to be able to control the boards and to just limit their second chance opportunities.
Coach, you touched on turnovers earlier. Right now, throughout the first 2 games, Texas Tech has outshot their opponent right now, just with field goals wise, by 32. It's putting up 32 more shots per game. So what do you see that way maybe with a complementary side of things? You're forcing turnovers, you're getting those steals and be able to put up more shots whether they go in or not.
Yeah, that's pace of play for sure. We want to be around probably 80 possessions a game for the pace that we want to play at. And so we talk about that at the end of each quarter to see where we are and to see if we're on pace. And we talk about either turning up our defensive pressure to create more turnovers, or just getting higher or getting second chance opportunities by crashing the boards. So we definitely want to play at that pace, but that allows us to have those second chance opportunities and more possessions. So it definitely is something that we're studying. It's something that we're looking at and trying to play at that level so that we can get into the 70s and 80s points wise and try to hold our opponents down in the 50s and 40s. All right. Thank you, guys.